Hello, everyone. My name is Nehemiah with the Gainesville Podcast Studio. I have a special guest in studio, Mr. Al. He has an amazing story that he wants to share with us. So, Al, before we get started, for those who don't know you and they're being introduced to you for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, good morning. I was born in New York, New York, on August 11th, 1984, and was raised in Brooklyn and met my wife in COVID, actually, right in the thick of things. And we soon after had our first child, Faith, in New York. Actually, yes, actually at the same hospital, Methodist Hospital, as my brother and sister were born. And it was a unique experience in its own right. And yes, hold on. Let me speak, okay? Or you will speak, okay? So Faith was born in Brooklyn, New York, at Methodist Hospital, and after that, we, due to COVID and a lot of other factors that had to do with us making a living, we decided to eventually move down to Florida and brought our professional life with us, but we moved down for family. My mother-in-law, Cher Bauer, lived in Sarasota, and we decided to move close to her so that we could have the natural. Yes, Gma. Yes, we moved next. Right. So we moved near Gma in Sarasota, and then we were about to have our second child, which we planned having a home birth. And it was a beautiful home birth. Irene was born on 9/11/2023 at 5 in the morning.
You're going to Sarasota.
Yes.
I know.
Yes, we are. Okay.
I'm in Jim swimming pool.
Yes, we're going there tonight, actually, after rugby practice today. We're going back to go fix up Gma's house. Yes, it's going to be so much fun. So that,
It's a
yes, and we can also, right, she has a pool. She lives in the 55 and over community, and we got a home 5 minutes from her house.
yeah.
And we started a small short-term rental business in Sarasota. And we planned on building that business and living next to grandma, who her daughter, my wife, Olivia, and her ran the first vegan daycare in New York City during COVID. And that was another reason why we had to shut it down, because they started asking them to check for vaccines of literal children, under 2 years old. So instead of doing that, we decided to close up business. Faith, please sit. Okay. And we came to Sarasota.
Yeah.
9/11 is a special date for me. I was actually a senior in high school at Xavier High School on 16th and 6th when 9/11/2001. And I'll never forget that day. I wasn't allowed to leave school without my parents coming to pick me up, which they weren't able to. They lived in Brooklyn. I was in Manhattan. Yes. And I had to take the train home with one of my art teachers, Mr. Ventrella, who I'll never forget. God rest his soul. He passed away a few years ago. But I'll never forget that man. And being able to actually get out of the city that day because he was willing to take the train with me. And so 9/11, 22 years later, if my math is right, 22 years later, Irie is born at 5 in the morning, and we had our, yes, she just turned 2. Very good.
Already?
It was just her birthday. Yes, she just turned 2, and she was born at home, unbeknownst to us, with half a heart. HLHS is the congenital heart disease that she had and is normally caught in scans, and it was not caught. And we brought her into the pediatrician on day 2. The pediatrician gave us the option of whether we wanted to have her scanned at the hospital or not. And her mom, Olivia, just had a feeling. She actually got a call from beyond, from her father, who's no longer with us, that said it's time to go. And she came to me and she said, we have to go to the hospital. I admittedly wasn't excited about it. We didn't have the greatest experience with the first hospital that Faith was born at, and we had our own feelings about that, but we went.
And I got taken from recycles for my new friend safe.
Very good, Faith. Okay. So we then brought her to Sarasota Memorial Hospital, where we had a patient advocate who met us there around 10 o'clock at night on her second day of life, September 12th. And we wanted to basically see if she was, everything was all right. They brought her upstairs. They took x-rays. They brought her upstairs. They gave her an echocardiogram. And the next thing you know, I'm hearing from an iPhone off in the distance as we were talking to our patient advocate on how we're going to tell the staff that we'd like to go home after we find out her heart's all right. And then as we were having that conversation, I heard, get the transport team ready on the phone. And I knew that didn't mean anything good. In a few minutes later, we were given her diagnosis over FaceTime from a doctor in St. Pete. And I hit the floor, basically. And we then were told that Irene was going to be helicoptered to St. Pete, and that we were not able, nobody with very good faith, that's right. We weren't allowed to go on the helicopter due to her very extreme condition.
How could you let your child on a helicopter by herself?
Well, she wasn't by herself. She was there with the nurses, the great nurses. These people are amazing. And the helicopter driver who literally broke a record that night for his 4th flight that night, to get her there in time to save her life. She spent 3 weeks in that hospital, and after those 3 weeks, they came to us. We thought that they were going to be our saviors, and they told us that they were actually going to be able to plumb her heart so that she would be able to live with the heart as is. That slowly deteriorated, and then we were given the choice almost 2 years ago today, of whether we wanted to have her flown to Gainesville, again, without us in the helicopter due to her severe condition, and or if we wanted to end the road there, which I was upset they even asked that, and they told me that they're required by law to ask that, that, if we didn't have the fortitude to keep this fight going, and neither of us even had a hesitation. We said, get her on the next flight. Thank you for, I thank them for admitting that they didn't have the ability to fix her, which takes a lot. It takes a lot for people to admit that. And I thanked the team, and thank God they got us to Shands here at UF Health. And we immediately, from the moment we got there, realized that this was a very different place. The first word I could say that just hit me in the face coming from Brooklyn, New York, and no shade on St. Pete, was once we got here, I could see it right away: diversity. There were all different kinds of people in those rooms, whether they were, cleanup staff or nurses, doctors, rounds doctors. There was a little bit of everything. It felt a little bit like home from Brooklyn being in kind of a melting pot. Now it's like that just spoke worlds to me. And they said on night one, I'll never forget, they're like, our goal right now is to just understand her. And they had me from there, that we had our trust in them because they weren't trying to impose what they do on her. They wanted to learn the patient and go from where they were and learn from her. They were open to learning from her and open to realize that she was not like any other patient they've had. And she proved them right. And so through a total of 333 days, we ended up in the hospital, and she was discharged one day after my 40th birthday. We've that experience at the hospital, good, bad, and everything in between. We have not taken a moment out of the hospital for granted, and we are truly, truly thankful and grateful for every moment that we have with Irene. And Faith, yes, honey, what would you like to say? Soon, very soon. You've been doing such a great job. Can I have a high five? Very good. Low five, side five. Whoa, you're quick. So that's a long answer to a short question.
I love that. Can you tell me, if you were to sum up your mission, right? We're going to dive more into this interview. If you were to sum up your mission in one sentence or one statement, what would it be?
I wasn't aware. I was someone who was in my own bubble and prideful of being in my own bubble until I was hit with this, like a ton of bricks. And then that ton of bricks came back at me. At St. Pete was a ton of bricks. Coming here, almost 200 miles away from where we thought was going to be home, that was like taking those bricks and just turning, mixing them up with cement and then getting hit again. And I wasn't ready. Be ready. Be curious. If you plan on having children, this can happen to you. Faith is the healthiest, almost too healthy, first girl that we had, and we had no idea that we could even possibly have anything go wrong with our second birth, which is why we were so adamant about having it at home. Olivia was a birth worker for many years of her life. We're almost done. Faith, can you sit? Okay. Can you put your legs down real quick? There we go. You guys are so good. Faith, hands down, please. Okay. We're going to be, please. All right. So just be aware of things that are outside of your bubble, and be curious, especially when you're deciding on having children. But even if you're not, even if you just are deciding to have sex one day, this is a possibility for you. And don't think that it can't happen to you, because that is exactly what happened to us. And if I could do anything, it would be to give the future moms and dads a reference that I'm just a normal guy, and there's nothing special about our situation. My wife and I gave every bit of DNA that we could for them to test to see if something came from either of us, both inconclusive. So just because you think you're healthy, or you have 7 healthy children, you're going to have an 8th, it doesn't matter. 1 in every 100 children born today has a congenital heart disease. 1 in every 100. Dr. Fricker very well known in the cardiology world at UF Shands Health. And he told me very early on that all congenital heart diseases, especially ones like Irene's, if they had the ability to make them all heart transplants, that would be the best way to fix them. We have come up with all different kinds of very expensive, extensive surgeries. One just like Irene, a 10-year-old girl who I became friends with her father via Facebook and our wives hooking up on Facebook on a group called the Parents of 10-2, which is the PICU unit at UF Health. You want to sing? Okay. And he told us that if there were enough hearts to give to all of these children, that sometimes the floors were lined with children that all were waiting for hearts. And what you have to do to get on the list to get a heart, I literally had to call the office of Marco Rubio and every other senator in the state of Florida to get Irene approved and on the list so that she could receive the life-saving surgeries just to bridge her to getting the heart. She had to be the first human on the new Berlin Exor, which we were sold by none other than one of the nurses, Kristen, who told us, we've asked probably 3 dozen people in the hospital, what's the difference between the old Berlin and the new Berlin? The new Berlin, you were able to leave the room for up to 6 hours. The old Berlin, maybe 30 minutes. And then it had to be replugged in. Yes, honey. Okay, come sit on my lap. So what we had to do to get Irene to where she is, I would like the future Iries to have a better chance. The number one source of childhood death in this country is children drowning of 4 years and younger, like these two right here. And it's from either being in a pool and not being watched, or being in a pool being watched by a parent who is scrolling on their phone. It doesn't take long at all for a child to drown. And unfortunately, that is just a reality that I don't know is ever going to stop. And I tell everyone, please, please, please teach your kids to swim. First things first, teach your kids to swim, so that doesn't try to get those numbers down. However, the parents that do get to that point and they are asked if you'd like to have their child's organs donated, that's the first time they've ever heard about pediatric organ donation. So we have hundreds of kids on a list right now waiting for organs, waiting for a heart. And just one child can save multiple child's lives. And if it's not the first time that you hear about a child's life saving multiple other children's lives, well, that's literally what we want to do, right? Organ donation is what today's day and age, we're more divided than ever. This is literally bringing people together in the most unique way that the human body can ever be put together. We are on the breaking edge of science, and it should be furthered, not broken down. And these kids didn't ask for this, and they deserve a chance. They deserve a second chance and a third chance. You can have up to 2 heart transplants in your entire life. And the longest single heart transplant has been 40 years in one person, for one heart for 40 years. And it was done here in Gainesville at Shands University, at UF Health in Shands. So we are very that's why we made Gainesville our home. After she'd been a year later, we still live here. We actually live 4 minutes away from this studio right here. And it's what brought me in. We get coffee across the street once in a while when we want to treat the girls. And I came in, and I've been wanting to tell this story for a while. Once we got Irene to a place where she is now, where you can't even tell any difference between her and anyone else. And that was my dream for her every day in the hospital. And we've achieved that dream.
Where was gonna bite me?
Oh no.
It was a scratch, did me.
Whoops. Okay, so can you move back to your chair for a minute? Perfect. So if I could do anything, it would be to spread the awareness of pediatric organ donation for all parents, and also support for dads. There's a lot of support for moms out there, moms, and credit to the moms, because they went and got it. So it's now our turn as dads to have similar communities which have been sprouting up all over the country, called daddy stroller clubs. And you don't have to be a medical father to feel like you're at war. You can just be a first-time dad, and you might not have all the answers. You're definitely not going to have all the answers. I still don't have all the answers. Look at me. But no one's ever done it alone. And the message is that we dads need to come together. And I've actually started following on social media some daddy stroller clubs that have been sprouting up around the country. And my plan is to start one right here in Gainesville.
Al, you have two very important missions that you're working on.
Yeah.
One is supporting dads with the Dad Stroller Club, as well as being able to share the awareness of pediatric organ donation. How can people help support the mission that you have?
So our Instagram handle is called the Heartful, HEARTFUL Voyage, VOYAGE, I believe. And we will be sharing stories of our life, our life now, and we will be posting when our next first daddy stroller club meeting will be. Tentatively, I would like to make it the 19th of this month at Depot Park. But please stay tuned. Follow us on our Instagram and message us. Ask questions. I'm full of information, and I will not charge you for it, because our mission is way bigger than money. It's about awareness. This isn't cancer. There's no research needed. There's literally, we just need one group of people to start realizing that there's another group of people that they could help save hundreds of lives tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. I go to sleep every night thinking that I could help these kids if I just spoke up. And if more, there you go. That's us in the hospital. That's right. Very good. Can I have my phone back? All right, you can hold the phone. So that's it. Right now, we also plan on starting a YouTube channel where you can get long form content. And I also plan on starting a podcast with my friend Jonathan, who has a 10-year-old daughter who had the 3 surgeries and did not need a heart transplant. And we will be discussing everything between having a 2-year-old heart baby and a 10-year-old heart girl who's literally just got sworn in as a security officer yesterday for her 11th birthday, and will be taking a trip to Washington, D.C. She'll probably be babysitting Irene very soon as well. So it's a community, and it's a very small community, but if you're not aware you might become a part of it without knowing about it beforehand. I wish I knew about it beforehand. Yes, honey. Tell them about you had a baby, right? Yes. You're going to need money for babysitters. If your kid's in the hospital, you're going to need money for babysitters, or you better get close to your grandma. Yes, honey.
I have a baby. You guys had to go out.
That's right. We had to go out to see your sister, right? So, yes.
No, it was about when I the babysitter's babysit. Highway 2.
Right. Oh, that babysitter. One last thing I will leave you with is also, if you'd like to support right away, every day, not every day, but we did create t-shirts that all of the hospital staff still wear to this day on 10/2. You can find them on our Instagram page, in the links on, it's a website called Bonfire. And on the front, it says Irie Heals with a picture of a beautiful heart. Faith, sit down, please. And on the back, it says organ donation saves lives. So if you want to spread the awareness, wearing one of these t-shirts is very, very subtle, but easy. With their awesome t-shirts. I love wearing t-shirts. I wore a collared shirt for the interview, but I like wearing my t-shirt everywhere I go. So that's one last way you can support. Get yourself an Irie Heals t-shirt. They come in all colors. My favorite's actually the tie-dye, which is in the wash right now. Bringing tie-dye back is a very cool thing. And, more to come. We'll also be, you can also message me for an Irie Heals wristband. I'll be getting you two guys some right now to join our tribe. And, just remind yourself that things could be worse. Things could be worse. You look it right on your wrist. You could be Irie, or you could be Irie's parents. And you know what? It's a new way of life. We are thankful for every day that we get, and every hour that we get, and every 12 hours that we get between having to give her life-saving medication. Very soon. Can I have a high five? Oh, you missed me. One more time. Oh, you got it. Third time. Irie, you want to come back real quick?
Al, I want to thank you and the girls for joining us for this moment here at the Gainesville Podcast Studio.
Have a kiss.
I want to say this before I let you go. I just met you on yesterday. I was coming in, bringing some water, saw you at the door, and saw you with these two beautiful girls that you have here, and had the moment to sit down with you and learn your story. And one thing that I absolutely love is an active father who's doing what you're doing. I mean, you're doing more than what a lot of dads would expect, because with the expectation is just a healthy kid, the normal things, but you and your wife and your family, your mother-in-law, all the people that's in your community have gone through a very challenging journey, and you've taken this as an opportunity to share their awareness and help others with what they may go through one day or are going through currently. And I just want to commend you for what you're doing.
I appreciate
love it.
you.
And I love that the girls joined us in studio today. This is amazing. And I love to have the ability to be able to do this. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's real, because you're living a real life.
Oh, yeah.
With these real little girls who are not actors, they are being themselves, and we absolutely love it. So Al, thank you for bringing this energy.
Thank you for creating the space. Yeah. And being here and having such it was such an inviting conversation, and you were so tolerant of the girls, and being a father yourself of four. You get me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't coming in looking to become famous. I just wanted to see who was behind these doors and if I vibed with them. And
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to come back.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you and this space. And I really, last thing I'll mention is, when you're talking about dads, a very unique thing about being in the hospital is realizing how few dads were there, because we're expected to be the go-to-work people and let mom deal with that. And that will really stress out anyone who has to be on this 100% of the time. We as dads need to be the ones who can give medicine and take care of the kids. I've had the girls since Saturday all on my own. My wife's been in Sarasota working on our businesses, and we've been ships in the night passing each other for the most part of, Irie being out. And it's because we believe that Gainesville is the place to raise your kids, and we want to keep our daughter close to her transplant team that we trust. And to have more active fathers in this community would mean the world, because I will tell you from firsthand primary source that it's not right, but it's true, that the hospital staff that knows that there's a present father that will be coming in at any point does treat those patients in a way differently than ones with only moms. And I would, on average, say it was probably about 70 to 80% only moms. And that's also coming from the hospital staff, who told me that I was one of the very few dads that they saw that was comfortable administering the medicine. So if you end up being there, they're not there to do your job. They are there to teach you how to do this job the rest of your life. And you should be thankful if you get a chance to do it, like I am. So I'll leave you with that. And I really appreciate the time in this wonderful studio. I'm sorry the girls are tearing it apart again. They kept they can't stay. They had to stay still for so long that now they're making up.
The beautiful part about it is, as they get older, they'll have this video in this moment.
Yes.
Like we were there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Al. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thank you all. And I would encourage each one of you to support Al and Irie and Faith in their family. So make sure that you follow them on Instagram and be able to connect with Al and see how you can further support them. Thank you.